Welcome to another edition of Bowie TV's Sports Spotlight. During this hour, we're bringing you highlights from some of our shows focused on all things sports in the DMV. Please be sure to give us a follow on all of our social platforms. First up on Pitt Sports Zone, tune in to Beyond the Game, a show focused on sports, life, and politics with Justin Hunt and Terrance Pitts. Then, watch as D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and D.C. United announce FIFA World Cup watch parties in the city. On Ravens Verdict, Candi Waller and Darrell Owens discuss Ravens OTAs 2026 picks and more. And on Washington Commanders Update, Candi Waller breaks down the Commanders' schedule release for this upcoming season on all Burgundy and Gold Errything on this part 2. Don't go anywhere, and as always, enjoy this week's episode of Bowie TV's Sports Spotlight.
What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what it is. I am your host, Terrance Pitts, and yes, this is a different element, a different segment, and a different environment. We are here. Welcome to the first segment of Beyond the Game. My co-host, Justin Hunt.
Hi, how's everybody doing? I'm Justin. They call me Jay Hunt. We're definitely here to have conversations that affect our communities, beyond opinions, beyond headlines, and of course, beyond the game.
And the funny thing is, we're going to get along during this segment, but we got Baltimore on this side and we got Pittsburgh on this side. But we got a yellow flag, if we ever get out of line, I can throw the flag up.
At the end of the day, we all can't be perfect, so we all can't be Ravens fans. We'll leave it at that.
So listen, man, who are we? We already said it. I'm Terrance Pitts, he's Justin Hunt. And as we said, we're bringing you sports, we're bringing you life, and we're bringing you politics. And for this very first segment, you are very, very, very young host and co-host, Justin Hunt and Terrance Pitts. Welcome to Beyond the Game. So listen, man, first off, congratulations to you, Justin. You were elected for the Democratic Committee for the 43A district. How does that feel?
It feels great. First of all, to be an elected official of any kind feels awesome, especially in this position. Especially when you look at the gas prices outside. I just paid $130 to fill up my car. So the key function of the Central Committee, the Democrat Central Committee, is to help Democrats get elected. And so I think we can all tell that right now with our federal, everything going on federally,
yes,
probably doing a good job running this country.
Absolutely.
They have both houses, they have the Senate, they have the House, they packed the courts, and now we have a president that's making life difficult for everyday citizens. So our key function of the Democratic Central Committee is to get Democrats elected, and I happen to live in a great district led by Senator Mary Washington, delegates Regina Boyce, and Elizabeth Embry, and on our county side we have Kathy Forbes. So I live in a great district. We have cohesiveness in our district, and it's our key function just to get Democrats elected, which we absolutely need to do. Period.
And Justin kind of really laid out the function of this show and why this show matters and how sports, life, and politics play together because they're all intertwined. They all connect in some form or fashion. And Justin also alluded to just the things that we're going through currently in today's climate, whether it's the gas prices, whether it's the war in Iran, whether it's the fact that American people are struggling financially, economically, in today's society, and we want to talk about how that's part of life, right? Because we're all dealing with it. That's something that everybody's affected by, and then on the side of sports, sports is one of those things where it's supposed to unite individuals, but depending on who you are, you can't mix politics with sports.
Well, I beg to differ because I think everything is intertwined. I think sports is political. You go back even back in 1968 with Thomas Smith, you go back to Jack Johnson. Sports definitely had a direct effect on politics and on where the political structure in this country was designed. You go back and look at that 1968 Olympics. This was a very, very powerful image at that time when Tommy Smith said, we're going to represent, we're here at this Olympic Games, we're going to represent for our people. We're going to let the world know that we stand united as a people. You go back to Jack Johnson, you look at some of the laws that were passed because he was a domineering black figure. Yes. He was a domineering boxer. And there were riots that happened. People died because of him winning the heavyweight championship in the world. So even if you fast forward into, Colin Kaepernick taking those knees and people standing up for standing up against police brutality, sports and politics is definitely intertwined. So I'm absolutely ecstatic that you decided to kind of move in this direction. I'm ecstatic to be your co-host.
No, I'm excited when you brought it to my attention. Like, I just want to be honest. Like, this wasn't something that I didn't create this. This was something that Justin and I had a conversation about. I said about a couple of months ago, and we talked about it. Life happened, stalled out, but here we are. And I think it's even more important and impressive that we're able to do it, the first episode with you, and the position that you're in, and the fact that you're into politics. So, what made you step into the public service?
Well, I thought I've always been a public service because I've always cared about my community. I've been working in public service forever. I believe if you believe in your community and you support your community and you work in your community, you are a public servant. It just so happens that now, I guess I'm officially in a position where not only do I serve on the Democratic Central Committee, I'm also chief of staff for Councilman Antonio Glover of Baltimore City District.
Shout out to Antonio Glover.
Oh man, he's great, and like I said, he's taught me a lot. And we were friends even before I became being able to work in his office, and he taught me a lot. And his key thing is putting people before politics, and so that's one of the key characteristics of how he lays everything out. It's okay. What do the people think about this? Yeah. So that's very important to him, and of course that's very important to me. Like I said, what kind of caused me, what drove me to get into this lane in particular. In my life I've worn many hats, and one of the hats I wore was at a bail bonds. Well, I was a bail bonds myself, but I worked in the bail bonds office.
Okay.
When you see, the cycle of these young black men that are staying in trouble, and we're talking about that school to prison pipeline, and you see, we always just look at when young people used to get arrested, you look at the date of birth. And so when you start seeing those birthdays, it's like, wait a second, you old enough to commit crime, old enough to commit crime, go to jail. That has an impact on you. And if I can, one case in particular, like really kind of affected me. There was a school teacher that had two sons. And when I tell you, her two sons, it seemed like they took turns getting in trouble because it seemed like every other month she was calling me to bail one of her sons out. One son would get bailed out, the next son would get bailed out. And so I'm seeing her struggle to try to put up the bail money every time for her son, because of course she loved her son. But at the same time, seeing that and seeing some of the always in trouble, seems like every week. I said to myself, I have to kind of get out of this space because it does have an effect on you seeing people give up their lives, seeing people bounce checks or pay their rent payment to get their grandson, their nephew, or their niece out of trouble. So I really wanted to pivot from that space, and I went back into the school system, and I wanted to become a coach. Because I'm saying, okay, once they get to this point, it might be a little too late. But if we can get them when they're 14, 15, 16, maybe when they're 17, 18, 19, we can have the impact on the world.
And, before we go any further, I also want to do a quick shout out and a plug in. We are here at the Urban Crab Shack. This establishment is also under the leadership of Justin Hunt as well. So, and then of course, we gotta have the black on. You can go ahead and introduce the beverage of the day.
So today we're definitely sponsored by Bent Wine Company. First of all, the brand and wine itself is exceptional. It's definitely black owned by Kevin Bent Wallace, a longtime friend of mine. We curated events together when we were at New York State. Okay. And when I say he's always some of that bounce ideas off of. If you call him Tricks. If you know Tricks, you know that he's always a fun-loving guy. I don't think he's had a bad day in his life. Him and his longtime girlfriend, Crystal J. Phenomenal people, phenomenal power couple. And when I tell you, like I said, the wine is phenomenal. And when he said he just started his wine, I said, look, I don't care what it costs, I don't care what it takes. Give me cases so I can put it in the restaurant. I said, you know, I try myself not to drink all of it up, you know, to save something for customers. But like, just want to give him a shout out for sure.
And again, you know, shout out to the National Treasure, Morgan State University. Like I said, you already know me. I focus everything on HBCUs. So knowing that this is HBCU made makes it even more of a delightful beverage. Before we transition to the sports and lifestyle of beyond the game, what is one misconception that individuals have about local government?
I would say that I think education is the key. There are certain things that, you know, for example, the mayor is not responsible for, or the city council is not responsible for. We get called all the time into our office about things like vouchers or things dealing with housing that you know, there are some local partnerships for more than federal level. About SNAP benefits, some of those things that are more at the federal level, the state level, that we don't really directly have control over. Yeah, people will call in and blame the mayor for stuff that's like, it doesn't have anything to do with some of these issues. So I think the education, I think, is a key thing. And as far as misconceptions, I think the abilities of some of our local elected officials to have some impact on matters that are just out of their control.
Yeah. And you know, as we transition and move into that sports, the media and sports side, just to fill in the gap on, you know, when we say how they all intertwine. You know, one prime example that we can think of that's current, I won't say current, but you know, a recent activity was Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Colin Kaepernick was the prime example of what sports and politics and life looked like, because in that moment, the misconception of Colin was that Colin was he was protesting against the United States flag, which he wasn't. Right? He was protesting about the inequality and the abuse that black men and women were taking at that time. So he knelt, and when he knelt, it was taken out of context. And here we have an individual who was great on the football field, but for some reason, his life, the politics side, overtook his professional side, and then minimized the life aspect of the impact that he was having on the game.
Absolutely. You know, I think Jaylen Brown from the Celtics just put out had a quote where he was talking about that if you think that politics and sport are not intertwined, it's not true. They're absolutely intertwined.
Yes.
And you know, even going back to Colin Kaepernick, I think that everyone here loves America. Everyone here loves America. Like I'm full-blooded American. You know, my grandfather fought in World War II. You know, my brother is a former Air Force veteran. So we love America. You know, we fought, we have bled, we have died for this country. So to say that you know, we don't believe in this country, or we don't believe in the ideals of this country, and when it comes to freedom and equality, that's just not true. So I think that a lot of people got caught up on the messenger or the way it was presented instead of the actual message.
Yeah, and that happens often a lot. You know, depending on the message, they look at the color of the messenger and they ignore everything he said, the context of it, right? I don't think it wasn't anything about his tone or anything like that. He did everything the way that you would expect somebody in that position to do it. He was quiet about it, right? All he did was kneel. So I agree with that aspect that, you know, I think there's also something that we don't have conversations enough about, especially with the younger generation.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this. What gaps have you seen when it comes to the sports space and the political space? Like, what gaps have you seen?
I think when we say gaps, I think we look at it from an aspect of, depending on who you are, you know, because we consider UFC a sport, right?
Right.
So Jake Paul and Logan Paul can say what they want politically, and it's taken with open arms.
Oh, wow.
But then LeBron James or somebody from the NBA speak up, such as Jaylen Brown said, and now we're told to shut up and dribble. They're not told to kick and be quiet.
Right. Okay.
You see what I mean? It depends, and it goes back to what you said. The gap is to stop ignoring the actual message and looking at the messenger, but more importantly, You know, if you're gonna be open to one aspect of it, be open to it all. But shutting one side out to hear another is something completely. I think it only divides even more.
So I guess the question is, why combine everything? Why do you think it's important to combine lifestyle, sports, politics? Why do you think it's important to combine everything?
It all plays a part, right? So I'll say it like this. Let's say lifestyle. Lifestyle is the way you live, where you live, your economic system, right? Sports is something that we enjoy, that we all watch, that brings us together. Mm-hmm. Politics is something that essentially divides us. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's a balance. Absolutely. It's supposed to be a balance, but we don't always get that level balance. And as I just spoke about the Logan Paul versus the LeBron James, there's that balance in the way it's received. Now, if it was received equally, then I think it would be a fair game. Right. But I feel, life is a part of life. Politics affects our lives, right? Okay. Absolutely. And sports, as you said, going back to the Olympics, right? When they stood on the podium with the black gloves. And I think there's always, they showed us then that politics and sports will always play a part of each other, because no matter who you are or what you look like, there's people like on Sundays, you're rooting for a black person. But then on Monday, you'll go out and go to a protest to strip black people of all their rights.
I think that is incredible that you mentioned that, because even now, I think one of the bigger issues, and I want to get your opinion on this too, one of the bigger issues that is not being discussed enough right now is the stripping of the Voting Rights Act. And you look at what's going on now, specifically in the South with the extreme gerrymandering that's happening. I know there's somewhat of a push now to try to reach out to some of the athletes and say, hey, don't play in a state where you don't even have representation. And people try to say that it's a Republican-Democrat thing. And let's be honest, it's really a black-white thing. Yeah. And for the most part, there are some African-American Republican elected officials. Absolutely. You see that Byron Daniels, Wesley Clark, Tim Scott out of South Carolina.
No relation to Justin.
Let's make that clear. No relation. But you do have some Republican elected officials who are African-American, but the overall majority are not. So when you talk about taking a place like Memphis, Tennessee, and breaking it up into 3 or 4 congressional districts, it's a direct attempt to dilute the voices of the people in those districts. So if you look at Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, these districts are going to be heavily represented by people that don't look like you or I, or by the people, the overwhelming majority of people that live in those cities. I think that's a travesty. I don't think that's being talked about enough.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually seen a recording earlier today where Stephen A. Smith actually criticized that notion that blacks should stay away from the colleges that are stripping those of voter rights. Like, I think that I think the thing that the misconception, and I'm not defending Stephen A. I think the way that he speaks it passionately. So a lot of people think that that's his stance, and
when you were the MLS Cup MVP, the #1 pick in the 2003 Super Draft pick. You gave this club some of the most electric moments in our history, and we're more than honored to have you with us and continue to be a part of this journey. To Jaron Price, the President and CEO of the Downtown Bid, thank you for your partnership, your investment. We're so excited to bring this event to the Bid and to the downtown. And to Mecca, I know cannot be here today, the President of the Capital Riverfront Bid right here in our neighborhood. Thank you for being a champion for this neighborhood and helping us to plant our flag in the Navy Yard. Your partnership makes this a true citywide celebration. And to our partners at D.C. Scores, our community leaders, to all of our young people here today, hi guys, thank you for coming. To our media partners and our supporters who are here today, thank you for showing up for this club time and time again. As we bring together our soccer celebration, all together, all united, we're so proud to work this together. I think it's more fitting at this time, and as we bring the official announcement of our soccer celebration that will begin in June, to have the mayor come forward, Mayor Bowser, to talk about the next part of the growth of the game in our communities.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am really happy to be here at the beautiful Audi Field, and I want to thank Danita and the whole team here with DC United for all of that they're doing to help celebrate the game here in Washington, D.C., bring people to our wonderful soccer. So I am also grateful to the partnership of the Downtown D.C. bid, and I know we'll hear more about that, and the Navy Yard bid, and welcome to our young people from D.C. Scores. So today is an exciting day for the district because we want to help celebrate the FIFA World Cup too. And we are happy to host with DC United as the lead some World Cup celebrations right here in DC over 2 weekends this summer. This is the world's biggest sporting event, and we want residents and visitors to come out and enjoy. So we are officially designating DC United's United in Play soccer celebrations in Washington, D.C. That's good. They will be official World Cup watch parties. So the 2 weekends are in June the 12th through the 14th at Franklin Park in downtown, and June the 19th through the 21st at Tenji Plaza in the Navy Yard. So you can watch the first 2 games and more in the heart of the city. These events will be free with other fun fan activations, music, local food vendors, and a chance for people of all ages to come together. So this builds on all of the work that we have been doing in the sports capital to make sure that DC residents, DC young people, but all of our neighbors in the DMV know that this is the sports capital where they should come to have fun and enjoy the city. So congratulations and thank you, DC United. And so who am I inviting up next? Danita? Okay.
Living that failed bid with the watch party, everybody was hoping DC was going to get it.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward, how does it feel to have these watch parties in progress? And not as a conservation prize, but still an opportunity for DC to be a part of the world's games.
Yes, well, I think it's brilliant. We're grateful for DC United for helping to make it an official watch party. And all these things build on each other, and sometimes the organizers and leagues need to see fandom in action. And this is a good way to do it. And to make sure we have official events, they're well attended, they're well organized, well executed. That is just another feather in our cap for the next time around.
I still why DC almost one game for the World Cup? One game.
I know, we tried. And so I think that we won't be dealing with this question, we hope, when the Women's World Cup is here, because we're going to have a new facility where they can play. And this is one reason why we're really focused on delivering the new stadium on the timeline that it's on. Yeah.
Some games starting later on for the World Cup. Will there be still, of course, certain regulations in terms of public transportation if the game set is going on past metro hours? How is that going to be handled?
Well, right now, we don't have any plans to extend metro for the watch parties, but we can, as we get closer, make sure we're giving people helpful hints about how to get in and out of the city.
Games that are coming up, of course, surrounding the first two U.S. men's national team games over the summer. Are there any plans to maybe extend that? Should they make that a third stage?
Oh, great question. I'll turn to the soccer expert.
Yeah, no problem. I was asking for the U.S. men's national team, should they advance in the World Cup, will there be future opportunities to host matches for those games?
In the World Cup this year?
Correct.
Not here. They already have their PC for the entire World Cup, so unfortunately, we don't have that.
No, just watch parties.
Yes, additional watch parties are opportunities. We'll be activating other watch parties with our local bars and restaurants throughout the city. So we encourage people, if it's not the weekends and we're having showcase like the actual free events that we're hosting, we're going to encourage our community members to get out, go to our local bars and restaurants, and have opportunities to watch the matches.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ravens Verdict. I am your host, Candi Waller, and I'm joined here by Darrell Owens. You all know us from Bowie TV. You may be seeing us in a different background, but we're here. We are here, and we are so excited to be partnering with our good folks from Fox Sports 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia, to bring you the most unique and comprehensive show on the Baltimore Ravens. And we are on site, on the ground, and in the room to bring you all of the information. Darrell, how you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. A new adventure, ready to bring you all Ravens coverage in a unique and very comprehensive way. I'm very excited about this, Candi. This is definitely new, and we're definitely going to bring the heat for y'all.
We cannot wait. So listen, we want to make sure you all are subscribe to Bowie TV. You're already following. If you are returning here, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. You all will have the best time with us because we love what we do, and we sure enough have a lot of fun. Fun fact, when Bowie TV was getting up and running, Darrell was on site with the Baltimore Ravens first for Bowie TV. So he's now returning there. You know, I'm everywhere, but as is Darrell, but they love Darrell over there. So we cannot wait to get into some of these hot topics. So before we might as well do what? Say that court is now in session. So we may as well get started. The docket is full. And the docket will absolutely be full each and every single week. We'll try to get into as many topics as we can. We have a lot of fun topics. Of course, we got to dive into schedule conversation. We got to talk about the draft picks. We have to talk about all the things to lead us up to present day. So let's go ahead and get into some of the opening topics right now before we get into our opening statements. Our first case. What is the most intriguing Ravens storyline right now? So what we'll do, you all, is Darrell will share his opening statement. I will share mine. We will have deliberations. We will do a closing statement on the topic. And then the verdict will be in, and we will go ahead and decide what we feel like is the truth or our interpretation of that based on the question. So Darrell's a lot going on in Baltimore, Maryland with the Baltimore Ravens this off season and now into OTAs. For you, what is the most intriguing Ravens storyline right now?
For me, I know there's a lot of ways you can go with this storyline, with the different storylines, but for me, it's the Jesse Minter era beginning in Baltimore. You can't look at the fact that John Harbaugh is no longer there. We're talking about 18 years with this organization, Super Bowls, opportunities for this team, and he's been a stalwart there. He's been someone who's been very important to the organization. So now with the young gun, a guy coming back in the fold in Jesse Minter, I'm very excited to see what the young gun can do there. Is he going to be able to translate to the culture and really, bring it to a new level? Obviously, he was an assistant there a couple years back, but will he be able to bring it where it needs to be? So for me, it's the Jesse Minter era, and will these players be able to step up to his style of play?
All righty, Darrell. So now I have to answer the question and bring my opening statement. And what is the most intriguing storyline going on right now for the Baltimore Ravens? And that's a great one. That's a great one. I want to, give another perspective on the running back room. Derrick Henry, Adam Randall, Rasheen Ali, others as well in that space. I mean, I think this is something that could, definitely end up being a topic for this team. I've been seeing a lot of analysts talking about Derrick Henry's age. Is he getting ready to turn over the running back keys to Adam Randall? And I know we'll talk a bit more about this draft class in a bit here in another case. But that is one of the intriguing storylines to me. Derrick Henry, Adam Randall. What will that 1-2 punch look like for this Baltimore Ravens offense going forward? So I guess deliberations must begin.
Look, I'm very excited here. What I see from what I think Henry was going to be able to do for the running back room. Obviously, coming off a year where he rushes for 1,500 yards plus, second in the league, and it's insane because at his age, you wouldn't think that Derrick Henry was still able to do the things that he's been able to do, but guess what? He's still doing it because he is the king. But what I'm intrigued about this, Candi, is being able to see what he can do for Randall. Obviously, Henry is getting up there in age. He's in his 30s now. Backs don't usually last that long after a certain amount of time. People say, okay, well, running back they slow up after a certain point. Derrick Henry hasn't showed that yet, but I'm really intrigued to see what he can do for Randall, and Randall converting from a receiver to a running back, and what he was able to show in that last year in Clemson really got him to where he was. So I'm excited to see what they do together.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting. I do want to go back to your storyline, the Jesse Minter era. This is a big storyline. It is. And it has continued to come up, the culture, right? And it's like the culture is pretty much the same. They're working hard. Football is family. They're building all of the camaraderie and doing things kind of the Jesse Minter way. But there's some big shoes to fill here, right? We know, and now in talking to several Raven staffers, there have been people who have been there for 18 years. All they know is John Harbaugh. Even our media colleagues, that's all they know. And so this is different for everybody, right? The fan base as well. So that is definitely one of what can be expected. You hear them talking about it, even the offensive coordinator, everybody's talking about how they want to come out and play. But this is Jesse Minter's house now. This is his football team now. This is going to be interesting to see how this turns out. So we both had some ideas. The Jesse Minter era, the 1-2 punch with Derrick Henry, Adam Randall, just the overall running back room overall. Let's go ahead. Closing arguments for this topic. Closing argument. Which way do you want to go with this, Darrell? You sticking with yours? You going to lean in on mine? Or did something else pop up? Do you say, you know what? I actually have a different thought on this one. And I want to throw that out there in my closing argument.
And that's very, very tough for me. My thing is this. There's a couple ways you can go with this. Obviously, Trey Hendrickson coming into town and being able to improve that pass rush. That's another element. Of course, the monsters with Randall and Henry. But for me, mentor means so much because of the fact that, you know, being able to carry on that Baltimore tradition is going to be extremely important. Now, we both know how this organization runs. They run like a fine tooth comb, and everything that they do is almost, I won't say to perfection, but they try to tote the line when it comes to perfection. And Mentor, who's been there, who knows the culture, I really think him being able to move on and make this a smooth transition from Harbaugh to the mentor era, where people, not that they forget Harbaugh, but they just be like, man, Jesse was the right guy to move the organization along. So for me, I got to stick with that because Coach got a little swag to him. It's a very cool, calm, and collect swag to him. If you had a chance to like kind of see him, and I think fans are starting to really grow with him and really like him. So I think the biggest thing will be if he can keep that going, keep that energy going, and obviously get the Ravens to the Super Bowl, because that's what they all want. They got close a couple years ago, Candi. We know how close they got.
They real close.
They're too close. Too close. Too close.
We know almost doesn't count, but it's hard not to think, what if? What if?
Yeah, what if? Close.
Oh,
Too
right.
close.
Too close.
There's a
too
lot
close.
going on.
Right. And yes, compelling indeed. For my closing argument, I think I'm gonna stick with the running backs. I'm gonna stick with, Derrick Henry, Adam Randall. Let's see what happens. Overall, the support for Lamar Jackson offensively, which we can go on all day about that, but that most interesting storyline of the vet and the rookie. Interested to see what happens there in this Declan Doyle offense. Already jumping to defense. You know how I am. Offense. All right, so we got to figure it out. The verdict's got to be in, though. The verdict's got to be in. Darrell, your storyline was great. I feel like that should be.
I mean, look, I appreciate that, Candi. I really do. I mean, the running back situation is definitely is going to be a situation where they, you're going to start to look for the success for Derrick Henry, and Justice Hill's back there, so I don't want to not forget about Justice Hill. He's done some really good things there. They drafted Rashid Ali a couple of years ago, and they've got those guys there. So it is a big storyline because if Henry, and we don't want him to go down, but if Henry does go down, you want to have somebody that can come in and do some really good stuff. And I think, with the Randall size and everything, they're hoping that they can kind of get maybe a Henry twin or Henry clone, I should say, in Randall. But I guess we'll see how that plays out.
All righty, you guys. Well, drop in the comments what you think is the most intriguing Raven storyline right now. We know it's just May. But there's still some very interesting.
It's so early.
It's too early, but it's a lot going on. So absolutely 100%. Got our first verdict then. Woo! Got our first verdict.
I'm gonna have to give me a gavel, Candi. I'll be up in there like that's it.
You have to get a gavel.
I gotta get a gavel, man. I gotta give me a gavel.
So the next case on the docket, this goes back to the draft, right? Did Baltimore draft finishers? Did they draft guys that know how to finish? All right. I mean, we could go ahead and let's just keep this order going. Let's keep this order going. Darrell, your opening statement. Did Baltimore Ravens draft finishers? How are you feeling about this draft class?
I feel really good about this draft class. At first, maybe I didn't give it the love that it probably deserved, even though I was there on the ground, for draft day, and at least on that second day, getting a chance to kind of see how everybody was feeling, and everybody's feeling pretty good about Vega coming in and being this monster, and you could just see the energy in the room when they knew that they had their guard for the future. A lot of people say, "Oh, you don't draft guard in the first round." Well, guess what? They got a mauler. A lot of people are excited about this mauler. So you get a guy who can finish, who does not, there's sacks don't happen with this young man. Like he protects his quarterback to the T. And if you're Lamar Jackson, you got to be smiling from ear to ear. But another young man that I'm very excited about in this class, and he's got a little bit of a spunk, and that's Zion Young. when we were in the draft room, we had a chance, or we were in there on draft day, and we had a chance to kind of listen to him and have his post-draft interview after he got selected. You can see the energy. He had the media people just giddy, and just the way he kind of, brought himself out. You can tell that he's going to have good energy on that defense, and we know that he can close. He's done it in multiple occasions on the college field. So I'm excited to see what Zion Young brings to the table, and of course the receivers. Everybody excited about Surratt and of course Lane. So yeah, they did a really good job, really good job with this draft, and I think they drafted some guys later on with Benny and Randall as well that are going to do some really good things.
Absolutely. Hey, my opening statement is very similar to yours. Like, okay, all right. And hey, listen, we all know that the Baltimore Ravens are an organization that does evaluations very well. Very well. But this goes back to, and they still, of course, have some of the, the scout team and all of that, in the transition. There's many of them are still there, but you still kind of say, is this going to be different? How much different is this going to be with Coach Mentor at the helm? But they still just kept to their mantra of playing like a Raven. So when we talk about finishing, these are guys that are going to play through the whistle. You're not going to see these guys giving up on plays, stopping at routes. You're going to see them finish. You're going to see, runs after catch. You're going to see that. You're going to see players that are going to be able to take a hit and keep it going. And this is exciting. So with that, I mean, hey, we always got to pull up some evidence. Right. We got to pull up evidence, Exhibit A, all of those things. As Darrell said, he was in the room, on site, on the ground, in the room for the Baltimore Ravens first round pick, Vega Owanye. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's complicated. Look,
right,
we could be still saying it wrong because I've heard 14 different variations. So I just call my man Vega. It's simple. You can't go wrong with Vega. I'm like, it's either Vega, and there's a different way of saying that too. So I'm just like, look, as we get along in OTAs and stuff, I'm pretty sure by that time I'm like, all right, we got it. We got something going good here because, yeah, my man's name is complicated. I'm not going to try to say the whole name. We're not going to do that.
No. So we do have a clip from the first round pick from Vegas press conference when Darrell was there.
Your relationship already that you're starting to build with Coach Ledford, and I know he was working you out at your pro day, and kind of how that all went with him.
Yeah, that was the first time I met him. He's explaining the drills, and then I had a rep. Like, I'm up taking a knee, about to run outside zone. He goes, I'm going to hold the bag. I was like, all right, I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm trying to push him on his ass a little bit. And then after the entire, we're done with pro day, he comes up, he's like, you almost put me on my ass. I was like, trying to play it off like I didn't know I was trying to do that. So, but, that's my guy. It's just how the game works, so.
Man's got a sense of humor.
I love it. I think that was the biggest thing for me, Candi. Like, some of these players that they drafted have a great sense of humor. We've seen Lane and his energy and what people have just been like exploding about Lane. Vega comes in. He's a little bit more of a calm demeanor, but you can tell he's just a tough, physical guy. And I love that about him right off the bat.
We talked wrestling a little bit earlier behind the scenes before we get started. And when you said it, I got to take the phrase from Ric Flair. To be the man, you got to beat the man, right? Mm-hmm. In order to be the man or to be the team in the NFC East, you have to beat the NFC East division, the NFC East champions, right?
Yeah.
And so if Washington comes out, and again, Washington really have a kind of a trend of everybody think this is a bounce back year anyway, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's talked about this is a bounce back year. Dan Quinn, Adam Peters said, look, we can't have the year that we had last year. This is the bounce back year for him. Dan Quinn is a bounce back year for Jaden Daniels. This is a bounce back year for Terry McLaurin, right? To actually start the season off strong. So this is the Washington's bounce back year, and why not come out the gate strong, right? Let people know that my mama used to tell me, if you're gonna fight a bully, make sure you hit him first, right?
Hit
the bully first.
Yeah, and also I'll say this. I think the Lux part too. Like, the good thing about it is we've been playing some of these teams. Unfortunately, we've been playing some of these teams hurt. Like Jaden was hurt. We didn't get to play. Yeah, Deluxe, thank you. Like Jaden was hurt, so he didn't get to play the Eagles or Jaden wasn't able to play the Cowboys in the second game. Now we get everybody. You got to see us. And Terry didn't play something again. Now everybody got to see us.
Yeah,
they got it. Hopefully, no injuries. Hopefully, huh?
I said each one of these games are going to be wars. This is not a 16 schedule, and I'm like, nah, this joint hard.
I know. I agree. I'm just saying now. What I like about it is, like, yeah, I get to play you. Like, if everyone's healthy after camp and going into the season, I'm happy. Like knowing that, shoot, you get to see our real unit the first 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's where I'm at. Like, hopefully.
Yeah.
Go ahead, George. You want to say something? Huh? George, what did you say?
The issue with playing Seattle is you're playing Seattle after 2 division games in week 3.
That's fine.
That is not the time to be playing Seattle unless you're 2-0.
But see, you're looking at it. This is the thing. As I'm saying, you're looking at it. The way you're looking at it is they're going. I think you're looking at it like they're going to fall 0-2 and play in Seattle, right? That's your thought process.
That is.
I can tell. That's my. I can tell. So my thought process. This is my thought process. You going to get Seattle 2-0 with momentum. I would take that going 2-0 against Seattle with momentum, and them coming from coming from the West Coast to play a 1:00 game. I will take that momentum into that game. Say if you go 2-0 into that game, or even one, depending on the heart, even if you split the way you look in the split, I would take that going against Seattle. Yeah, I'm not looking at it going, huh? We say, Candi?
Don't go 0-2.
Yeah, going 0-2. I think if 0-2 playing almost anybody, to be real with you, you would feel kind of
It's bad.
It's regardless, bro. Real talk.
Yeah, but there's and then there's the defending Super Bowl champions.
I know, but there's still 0-2. You're gonna be negative regardless. I'm gonna be real with you. 0-2, you're gonna be negative regardless.
And that's what I was saying. If this
go, Candi,
it's
gonna be negative regardless.
Not gonna be able to handle it. Like, let's just be honest. In May, they go 0-2 within the division. The fan base it's not gonna matter. It's just gonna unravel. It's gonna start unraveling by then. So they're gonna have to come out. They're gonna have to. There is no ramp up.
Yeah.
There is no ramp up. You got to play like
guns are blazing.
You got to play, and because all of these teams that they are playing, especially the ones I look at that's how they come in. Like that's how.
So
they come in.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with how this was right. So why be upset if we lose or go 0-2 first 2 seasons? Don't Dallas and Philly have to come here and play? Just beat both teams by one point more than they would beat us, guys. It ain't that bad. I just feel like I'm not. I think we're going off of, and I understand. Is like people were going off of last season. I understand like how they performed last season makes certain people doubt if they can go and start the season against divisional foes and win those games, right? I get it, but it's a lot of hope, right? We got a new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator, new team, players, healthy.
And there's that end of it too, Wole. I mean, we're throwing a coach that's on the hot seat with 2 new coordinators. I mean, we're throwing them at the deepest of the deep end. 2 division games plus the defending champions out of the gate.
But you're gonna have to play them regardless. You're gonna have to play people regardless. You ain't ducking smoke. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to play people regardless.
There are better times to play them.
No, I think it's best. I will say this: they're better. No, I'm gonna be real with you. The best time to play a team is in the beginning of the year because they're gonna have their thing going in the mid part of the season. That's when teams get ready. You get the best version of those. It's better to get Seattle now. And 3 games to Seattle in the mid part of the season, I'll tell you that much.
But I also agree with that too.
I mean, but they might have injuries. I don't know.
They're not the same team. I mean, you gotta look at it this way. They are the. I don't like to use the word defending. I don't like the word use the defending champ. Right? They're not the defending champions. They're trying to get another championship, right? Because it's not the same team, right? It's not the same team that's coming.
Again, I know that coach is going to have his team prepared.
But he also has to play.
I'll say this. But let me jump into this real quick about Seattle. Like, if you even go off of last season, they played way better. They got on the roll. Like, you watched the beginning, like their first 5, they weren't that great early in the season. They were better. Like I said, they were better when they got rolling. I don't think like we like going. I think Paul said it in the chat too. Like, even in matchups, right? Does any quarterback other than Dak? I'm gonna lie, Dak should concern you. Other than like Dak, is there any real quarterback that's going to concern you of the first 4 to 5 games?
Until this secondary shows me more than last year, all of them concern me.
I get you that, and that's fair.
ALL.
That's fair. I'm just saying, like, that's fair. But I'm just saying, going into the season where people are like, you go into the season, you don't know. No one knows. Like, you don't know if Seattle's going to be the same team without Walker. You don't know they're the same defense, like the same running game. You don't know if the Cowboys, after like what they have, like after last season, because Cowboys are off and hot and cold all the time. They're hot and cold. Yeah. They're good one year and they're bad one year. They're really good one year and they're just okay next year. But you don't know what version. You don't know if what's going on with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. You don't know if that's going to affect them. You don't know. There's a lot of questions going for these other teams too. That's what AJ Brown won't be there. You don't know if they're going to be the same. True. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I just know that until this secondary shows me something different, there ain't no quarterback we can just sleep on.
But I'm just saying, like, all these teams, you don't know. There's question marks for a lot of these teams. That's all I'm saying. So going into the first 5 games of the season and say like, oh man, no, because at the end of the day, I'm being real. Just like you're concerned, them teams are concerned. Oh, we got healthy Jaden Daniels. We got to play them in week 1. So just like you're concerned, they're concerned.
It is. And then you got to go with Seattle. Seattle has to play the New England Patriots week 1 and has to play the Arizona Cardinals week 2. Again, and then y'all got also, we talked about earlier, keeping in the health factor. Anything can happen in training camp. So you got to look at it this way. Just at the onset, or just to look at the schedule, we know it's tough. But I really do believe that this is a different Washington team.
Oh, thank you.
Where they have a chip on their shoulder. Let's be honest, right? And they have a chip. This team has a chip on their shoulder. This coaching staff have a chip on their shoulder. Dan Quinn has to prove that he belongs. Peters has to prove that the choice of the decision he made, his draft picks, can be successful, right? Yeah. Deontay Jones has to prove that I can be a defensive coordinator in this league, right? And David Blah be like, I may be young, but guess what? I can work as an offensive coordinator. So everybody on this team and this staff has it right now going into the season. Until we see training camp and preseason, have a chip on their shoulder. They have something. They have something to prove in 2026, 26-27 season.
I got a question for Candi. So, Candi, if you had to circle one game on the schedule right now as a statement game for the Commanders, which matchup stands out to you the most? We talked about the Eagles, but which matchup stands out to you the most?
I'm gonna still say pick one for week 1 or week 2.
Week 1, week 2. That's those. Okay.
I mean, that's just basic.
I totally agree with that.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I will be very honest and tell you all, I'm going to be very critical of this staff this year. Very critical, right? And here's the thing, because now there are some differences. Do you give David Blau some time, right? Do you give Durante Jones some time? Because to Glenn's point, now that I know these people and really look at what happened in 2024, what happened in 2025, now it's in 2026. This is a different group of people. So I saw somebody say anybody, anywhere, anytime. I said, yeah, they don't even say that no more. Right? Like, I'm going to be critical from the perspective of, because I was in 2024, right? Then you still get critical in 2025 because it's like, okay, you got to replicate and do what you did last year, but at a higher level. And they showed they couldn't do that. They didn't do that. And then the injuries didn't help them.
Not at all.
And so now you have 2 new coordinators. Do you give them a pass? Right? Do you? Because I don't think you do.
You can't. Dan Quinn can't afford, like you said, they don't have time. I don't afford it.
But do you? Right? It's still a question. Well, you got a new coordinator. Well, you got a new offense coordinator. Well, you got I don't know. I don't know the new guys. I don't know them. It took some time to get to know them in 2024. Now, last year there was more returning guys than there were new guys, right? So there's a lot to be seen, like you all were saying, in training camp and preseason, because remember, we already knew in preseason game 1 that wasn't gonna go well. Okay,
Facts.
right?
Yeah.
So now it's like, and enjoying practice. So now we gotta really see, because we don't know what these new guys. We don't know what we don't really need to know what the system looks like, but we don't know what the culture is yet. Because once you start moving the amount of people they moved in and out this past year, I want to see how this goes. Because some of the chips that you're talking about on the shoulder, everybody don't have that chip. That's the challenge, right? And it's like, okay, who really has it in their mind of Super Bowl or bust? We already know everybody's not going to the Super Bowl, but this becomes one of those things where who has more to lose? Right? Do your new coordinators, do your 2 new coordinators have a lot to lose? Maybe not. Just Dan Quinn, maybe so. Adam Peters, maybe so. Where's the balance at? Because you've had one great year, one terrible year. So in year 3, you gotta at least make it look convincing.
It's the rubber match.
It starts from the beginning. Now we know some people or some teams, like you said, well, like they might start out hot and then they but you're gonna have to make it look convincing the whole entire time. So if I had to circle one right now, because I'm still on, maybe it's not week 1 against Philly, but it's absolutely week 2 in Dallas. You better make Dallas look bad, because here's the reality. Dallas has consistently made the Washington Commanders look bad.
True. That's true.
And it's one team.
Yeah. Consistently throughout the Western Time. Yeah.
Last 2 years, they got Jaden's number, they got Dan Quinn's
That's
number.
true. That's true. 2 years.
Okay. So week 2, if you lose week 1, right? Week 2, you better go in there on that star.
Yeah.
And make your presence known.
So you're saying like week 2. So you're like week 2. You've been like, I mean, you may be right about week 2 maybe in it, because you're right. Dallas has the last.
Dallas, they don't do well against Dallas now.
That's a good point.
When they were great in 2024, Dallas just can't. They won that last game of the regular season, but that was at that last second touchdown. Jaden had to go out of the game. It was like
that wasn't even a real game for real.
It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't. Yeah, and so and then you think about last year, we know what they happened at home, right? That year, right? And they tried to come back. They have a hard time against the Dallas Cowboys. It's a conversation people don't really want to have, because I understand that the Commanders in Dallas are rivals. Yeah. But that's why I'm like, week 2. Okay, week 1, I wouldn't want them to lose to the Eagles, but I'm gonna tell you, week 2 in Dallas, that you got to make a statement real big over there, because if you go in there and lose, you go to Eagles and lose, you go to Dallas and lose. Oh, it's just, and I get the season is long, this is that and the third, but nobody's going to care about that going into the international game week 4. They're just not. We know this already. They got to make a statement at least week 2. Week 2 is I'm getting my toys back. Dan Quinn has to go back and get his toys back from the Cowboys.
I like that. We got a question from Red Zone the Lab 101. Appreciate you, fam. What's going on, my guy?
Thank you, dude.
So what's good? The question is, which team is going to be more prepared week 1? The same can be asked week 12. Who's going to be more prepared? Coaches and coaching got to lock in. Totally agree.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
By the way, just imagine if the Cowboys lose to the Giants and Washington lose to the Eagles, that week 2 game will be a bloodbath.
Oh, week 2 is going to be fire.
Yeah, week 2.
Week 2 going to be fire.
I mean, I think you kind of
1-0 or 0-1. Oh man,
you kind of swayed me, because I was like, the Eagles game would be a statement game for me, because the Eagles have been the bullies on the block in the NFC East because they won the division. But you know what?
Week 2.
Because you're right.
They cannot.
The Cowboys do like really be
on their neck.
Yeah, the
Cowboys don't want to admit it because it's them, and it's like, hey, look at it objectively. Look at it objectively. They on the neck. It don't feel right. You gotta get your toys back from them people.